And welcome, Hoosier fans, to another disappointing episode of the Doing the Work post-game show. As tonight, your number 10 ranked Hoosiers lose to the number 13 ranked Maryland Terrapins, 64 to 67. It now takes Indiana to 19-7 on the season and 11-5 overall in the Big Ten. It makes us the Big Ten's fifth seed in the tournament, which means we will not get the double bye and we'll be playing on Thursday. We'll be playing either the winner of either Wisconsin or Rutgers, who play on Wednesday. So that's how our regular season ended up. And I am your host, Kathy Amos, here with my co-host Jeff Marlow, and hopefully an additional host. Oh my goodness, an additional guest, Christian Stoltz. And today we'll break it all down for you on this edition of Doing the Work, the new show on the Back Home Network dedicated to covering IU women's basketball. But first, let's start this show the way we start every show, and that is with our banner moment. And maybe this is an obvious one, maybe not with the ending of the score, but, a game where, things weren't necessarily going our team's way. Some of our players in particular were really struggling, and, they just couldn't quite get over that 4-point hump. And Nicole Cardano-Hillary, I thought in particular, was really having a rough night. She was 0 of 8. She had 3 turnovers. She had no steals, which is very uncharacteristically of her. But, the coach had great faith in her, and they put her back in that fourth quarter. And with 34 seconds to go, Nicole had the confidence in herself, building off of that confidence from the coach, to put up that three-pointer and get her first basket of the game for a three-pointer to put us within 1 point and really give us a chance with 34 seconds left to win. Now, it didn't end up going our way, but I thought that whole sequence from Nikki, and just the confidence from the coach, the confidence from the team to get her the ball, and the confidence from Nikki to shoot it, I still hope bodes well for the postseason play that the women are getting ready to enter into. And tonight, for me, that was the banner moment. And as always, our banner moment today is brought to you by our friends at Home Field Apparel. They're now in their 5th season of sponsoring the Simply Call, and their first as the presenting sponsor for the Back Home Network. And did you know that among Home Field's largest collection of vintage IU's apparel is a shirt commemorating one of the most successful seasons in the history of women's basketball program? It's true. When you go to the IU collection, you'll find a T-shirt commemorating the 1983 season, when Indiana won the Big Ten title and made its first NCAA tournament appearance. And given what our women's team is doing, it might be time for a new shirt soon. And if you support other college teams besides Indiana for some reason, or have people in your life that do, Home Field probably has something for you. There are well over 120 different schools that they represent, and they're all unique and vintage logos. So no matter what you buy, who you buy it for, you know that the shirt will be comfortable and the colors will last through many washings. Plus, you're supporting an Indiana-based company that came up through Kelly. So what could be better than that? Plus, if it's your first time purchasing, you can use our code HOME, HOME, to get 15% off your entire first order. Again, that's HOME for 15% off, and you can go to homefieldapparel.com. Wear one for the team. Okay, well, now it's time to move the ball, find the open player, and get some opening thoughts from the rest of our team. And we'll kick it over to Coach Marlow for Coach's Corner. Coach, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, Kathy, I thought it was just another night where we struggled at times with both ends of the floor. I thought second half we did a better job defensively, but in the first half, I thought we were really struggling. Even though we got it to 5 by the end of the half, I really felt like we were struggling in the first half with the defense. In fact, at one point, Maryland was really on a pace to score about 45 in that first half, and we kind of locked it in a little bit. But the one thing about this group that we've always said is they don't have much quit. They got down big to Iowa last Saturday, made a big run. They got down by 12 in this game in the first half against Maryland, made a run, got it all the way back to within 1. But that was kind of the theme of the night, was just could not get over the hump against a good team. Maryland is a quality opponent, and they're going to be they're going to go deep in the tournament, I think, as well. But we just never. I felt like if we could have got to the point where we got it tied or a lead, then maybe we could have really got them to be a little bit panicky. But the kids don't quit, and that's a kudos to them. But it just seems like we're playing from behind way too much right now.
Yeah, I would echo those same sentiments. Absolutely, Coach. And also joining us tonight, we have a special guest, Christian Stoltz. And Christian, we're going to kick it over to you for Christian's Keys. So what do you have for us?
Yeah, IU really never could get a rhythm, and Maryland might not be the best three-point shooting team, but if you leave them open, they're going to hit them. And we let them get a rhythm. The inside game was working well, and so they were able to find a rhythm and it carried throughout the game. They slowed down a little bit as the game went on, but they started out hot enough to keep them up. And we tried battling back, but it seemed like every time we did, it just kind of got the momentum switched off by a bucket in transition from Maryland.
Yeah, I would agree. So, all right. Well, as we continue our breakdown today of Indiana's 64-67 loss to Maryland, we will point out today's meaningful moments you might have missed, and then we will go inside the numbers to highlight the most important statistical notes from the game. And you are listening to the Doing the Work post-game show. Again, I'm Kathy Amos. I'm here with my two co-hosts today, Jeff Marlow and Christian Stoltz, and we're looking at Indiana's loss tonight to Maryland. Now it's time for meaningful moments that you might have missed, and I think we'll continue on with how we have been the last few games, and we'll go quarter by quarter. But Jeff, I'll kick it to you to come up with our first moment from that first quarter.
Yeah, well, I'll go right to the first one. The only lead I think we had of the game, Mackenzie Holmes gets a field goal at the 8:49 mark to give Indiana a 2-0 lead. So I'll go with that as my first moment here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Christian, what do you have?
In the first half, I think Nicole really kind of set the tone for us with her not lack of energy, but really energy kind of contributing to some bad turnovers, bad passes, just how she played on defense. We're used to her really getting up in the grill, getting those steals, getting on transition. It didn't seem like she was really able to start doing that. So Maryland got out, started shooting hot. 50% in the first quarter isn't really something you want to let a team do. So.
Yep, I would agree. A couple of the moments I had written down was exactly one that you're talking about at 6:36, where Nikki got actually her second turnover and the third on the team. And soon behind that, we would end up with 5 turnovers on the team very quickly into that first half. It just seemed like we couldn't get into much of a shooting rhythm either to compound it. So and as an example, at 4:12, we had Grace get a really nice steal on the defensive end. And we come down and she got the ball to Nikki for a nice 3 look, but she ended up missing it. So again, it just seemed like that started out the game, and it seemed to be kind of a consistent theme in terms of at least with Nikki for sure, with some shooting woes and some turnovers. Now it did, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, in the second half. It did slow down for us a little bit, but it really seemed to come in bunches in that first quarter. Jeff, what else do you have in the first quarter?
I'll go to the 5:37 mark here, Kathy. There weren't on a lot of them, but Grace made a jump shot that got us within 6-6, got us tied at 6-6. And I think that was the last time maybe it was tied even. So from that point on at the 5:37 mark, well, take that back. 5:13, Maryland scored on the next possession at the 5:13. We trailed the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think we lost Christian. He's having some internet connection problems up where he lives. They got quite a bit of snow, and it's kind of knocked his internet out. So hopefully he'll be able to get back in with us. But one of the other things I had in that first quarter was a big offensive rebound by Keandra Brown that came about the 3:06 mark. But again, turnover bug, and we get the ball from that offensive rebound. She gets it to Nikki, and then Nikki threw it away. So again, just continuing that theme of the first quarter. Do you have anything else written down?
Well, at least we finished the first quarter on a nice move. Lex got to an offensive rebound, was trying to tip it in when she got fouled, and with 0.2 seconds to go, hit 2 free throws. So it was down 9 at the end of the first quarter. But like Christian pointed out, we only shot 25% in the first quarter. So again, just like I said, it just seemed like an uphill climb all night.
Yeah, 25% off in the first quarter. We had 5 turnovers, as I mentioned, and at least I think there were 5 in the first quarter alone. And I know it turned into 11 points off of turnovers for Maryland. So, and that was just in the first quarter. And so kind of had a rough start for us. So we go down 10-19 at the end of the first quarter. But anything else that you have in that quarter?
No, not in the first quarter, Kathy.
Okay. All right. You want to start the second quarter?
Well, yeah, the second quarter actually kind of started out a little better. At the 8:54 mark, McKenzie hit a free throw to get us to, after Maryland had started off the quarter with another three, to go up 22-10. Mac hit a free throw, and then Chloe hit a three, and Lexa followed that up with a three. So all of a sudden it went from 22-10 to 22-17.
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition, about the 4:38 mark there, we had Allie pulling up in the middle of the lane and got her first points. So that was really nice to see, and made it 23-32. So it was good to see Allie getting involved there, at least offensively in the scoring column. And then right after that, about a minute and so after, around 3:11, I thought Grace had a really nice night against Knight, and she had a really pretty move where, we used to see her kind of pull up off that elbow, but here she was right along the baseline. She stopped and pulled up for a really nice floater, and got us back within almost single digits at 25-35, but kind of let Maryland pull away a little bit there in that middle of the second quarter. But what else do you have on your list for that quarter?
Well, just right there in that same segment, I'll build off that. Chloe followed that up with a field goal to cut it to within 8. And then Grace hit 2 free throws to cut it after another Maryland basket at the 48-second mark. And then Allie Patberg with a huge 3 at the end of the half to make it a 5-point game at the half.
Yep, she hit that 3 with 5 seconds left. So yeah, so we end up, there were a few segments in there. We won the first one by 4, one lost the middle by 7, and won by 7 at the ends. And then overall in the quarter, we ended up going up, winning that quarter by 4. And so we went into halftime down 5, 32-37. One of the things I wrote down that I was looking for in the second half was really to see if our defense could really step up and if we could find any answer for Angel Reese. I don't think we did, but that was what I was looking for after the first 2 quarters. But anything you were looking for going into that second half, Jeff?
I wanted to see us lock in a little better defensively, Kathy. I know we only gave up the 37, so the pace was a little better. But like I said at the beginning, I thought it really felt like we were on pace to give up about 45 or 50 in that first half. And I really felt like the defense, and you and I talked about this in a text exchange we were having a little bit, that it's still kind of, it's like going back to the Nebraska game. It really seems like there's some communication issues on the defensive end. I'm not saying it's huge communication, but when you're an elite team defensively, you don't have any communication issues. And the difference between being elite and very above average, very good, is just a few things. And we're seeing this, I think, in the 3-point shooting. We're leaving 3-point shooters, even though, like Christian pointed out before he lost his connection, they are not the greatest 3-point shooting team. But when you leave them open as much as you were, they're going to knock them down. And it's kind of contagious. When one person sees somebody else hit one, they're going to think they can hit them too. So I really wanted to see the defense, turn up a little bit more in the second half.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't just as I had mentioned already, Angel Reese, but like you mentioned, those 3-pointers. I mean, Maryland shot 75% or 6 of 8 on 3-point shooting in that first half. And clearly that's not a good recipe for us when we only shot 37% from 3. So should we move into the third quarter?
Sure.
All right. So I thought we came out and kind of, again, started off that third quarter where we left off. Mac came out and fouled Reese right away. And then I think she made 1 of 2 free throws there. And then Nikki got the ball, went down and missed a layup. And then Maryland went down and got a 2. And all of a sudden it's now 32-40. So kind of a rough start to that third quarter. But what else are you looking at and wrote down?
I'm going to kind of go a little deeper into the third quarter, kind of right. And then there was a big lull, like from about the 7:08 mark. There was really neither team scored, but I'm going to go to the 7:43 mark where Mac got a field goal to cut it to 9. And then kind of back and forth. But then at 7:08, Grace hit a field goal to get it back to 9 again. And that's why I felt like we were kind of starting to get some rhythm offensively. It wasn't like we let them score 2 or 3 times to our 1 or 2 and their 3. It felt like we were starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. And I thought that's when I really felt the offense picked up. Yeah.
I wrote down the 7:43 mark as well for a very different reason. That was Allie Patberg's 500th assist in her career. That made her the 3rd third player in program history to reach 500 assists. And so I was thinking about actually leading that with my banner moment until Nikki hit that shot at 34 seconds. But I wanted to make sure when we got to the third quarter here to point that out, because I think that's a huge accomplishment from Allie. And I'm sure we'll talk more about her. But I thought Allie overall, again, she ended up with 4 assists on the night, which I thought was pretty good, and 13 points. It just still didn't quite feel to me that Allie was quite into the flow of the game overall until really starting to get into this third quarter. So she had that really nice assist, and then she finally got another 3 there at the 2-minute mark that made it 46-51. So she kind of came and went, I thought, in this game in spurts. But in terms of Allie's play specifically overall, what kind of thoughts do you have on her?
A little bit of like you, I know we don't want to get too deep into the stats here, but it just didn't feel like Allie was a big part of the offense early. And again, we've said that she doesn't necessarily have to score a ton for this team, but when they're struggling like they are right now, I think you're looking for your kid that's got 7 years of experience to kind of be that person you can go to. And I thought it was interesting. Ari made the comment in the Workaholic chat here that I think must have been in the post game where Allie said they're not focused right now. And that would be concerning to me a little bit. And I realized that Mac was hurt and they had the COVID, but we're several games beyond the COVID now. And I also wonder if that's just a byproduct of all the games they've played in a short stretch that, again, just kind of the mental side of it more than anything. But I would imagine next week in Indianapolis, the Big Ten tournament, we'll see a little better focus. But I can't say Allie played bad. It just wasn't the Allie that we know that can go out and get us 15 points and 5 assists. And actually she had 4 tonight. So, I mean, it was just a real quiet game. But yet she ended up in double figures and really didn't play probably as bad as we felt like with the eye test.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, and I do realize Allie had 7 years to get her 500 assists, but still, only 2 other players have gotten more than that. And I think,
but I don't want to interrupt you, but those weren't all 7 years at Indiana, so I think they're probably only counting the time at IU.
That's right. This is only 500 assists at Indiana, so that's a great point too, Jeff. Yes.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I didn't want you to think she's spent 7 years trying to get her 500 assists.
Right, and I don't think she played all 7 because she sat out with injuries and transfer and stuff. So
correct.
Anyway. All right, third quarter. I thought right around that 123 mark to Grace to hit Chloe McMora out on the perimeter for another 3-pointer. And Chloe, I thought, just had a fairly solid game for us again off of the bench tonight. So I enjoyed what I saw from Chloe. She got some really good minutes there, especially with Nikki's trouble hanging onto the ball and scoring. I think she filled in pretty nicely for Nikki. But do you have any overall thoughts for Chloe on today?
I really agree with you. I'll just add in that it's really a pleasure to watch Chloe Moore McNeil really starting to grow into the type of player that we thought we might see a little bit earlier in the season. But this is this is a kid that was really starting to come into her own. And it's interesting because Grace said one of the first episodes I did with Grace Berger and her show was that she really felt Chloe was one who could make a jump that nobody was going to know about. And I think we started to see that here in the last 3 weeks or so of the season.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that on Chloe. And, before she was only getting in a few minutes here and there and, played sparingly, didn't usually score at all. And now, I thought I wrote it down somewhere. Was this her 3rd or 4th game in a row now with double digits?
4th, I think, but don't quote me. I didn't write it down.
I didn't write that down. So, okay, let's see. The other thing I pointed out from Chloe in that quarter was around the 3-minute mark where she got the ball underneath and the defense collapsed underneath her and she found Allie out on the perimeter and Allie made another 3. At that point, it made it 43-49. So there were a couple, I went backwards and in the time frame there, but regardless, I wanted to make sure to point out those really nice plays in the third quarter from Chloe. But that's all I had in the third quarter, but do you have anything?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. You want to lead us into the fourth quarter?
Well, just again, kind of back and forth, but I really felt like there was a key stretch there where we got it to 57-53, and then Maryland scored 3 out of the next 4 baskets and took it out to 63-55. And that probably really, even though we got it back, that's that took it to the 4:42 mark. That's a big hill to climb with almost 5 minutes to go against a good team. Against an average team or maybe a little above average, they might help you a little bit. But Maryland, a team like Maryland, generally not going to help you there. So I thought that was a big segment. When the only bucket we got there was Alexa had a field goal to make it during that stretch.
Yeah, that was around the 4.5 mark. I'll go back to towards the beginning, and I was hopeful that maybe we could take this sequence of events and lead it into some good momentum for us. But around 7:15, Allie had just a really nice steal, got the ball down to Alexa on the other end for a fast break layup, and then going back on the other end on defense, we had Keandra Brown doing her thing where she stands there, and in this case, it wasn't necessarily a charge, but she drew an offensive foul, playing some really nice defense against Reese. And I was thinking, oh, here we go. We're starting off the fourth quarter. We're going to get back in this. We are only down 4 at the end of the third quarter. I thought that might get us some momentum. But back to your point, that it just seemed to go back and forth, and we just couldn't get over that 4-point hump. It seemed like we get to 4 points, and then Maryland would come back and make some runs. And then we get it back to 4. And until Nikki hit that 3, we just really couldn't get past the 4-point barrier. It seemed like there was like a invisible door there. Yeah. You have anything else you want to talk about per se in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the end of the fourth quarter here, Kathy, and you can disagree, agree. We may have a discussion here, so you may want the workaholics think a little bit. I really felt like when we got it back, Nikki hit the 3 with 35 seconds to go, got us back to within 1. That was her only bucket of the game, as you pointed out in the banner moment. But then I really felt at that point you had to extend the game. I know you were only down 1. But the shot clock is so near to where the game clock was there. If you let Maryland run that all the way down, you're going to have less than 5 seconds. I know in the women's game, you can advance the ball at the timeout, but you're still really kind of rushing to get a good look with less than 5 seconds to go on a sideline out of bound play 9 times out of 10. So I really felt we should have gone for a quick steal and maybe a foul with 25, 30 seconds to go and extend the game out, because Maryland had only been to the line 6 times. They only went to the line 6 times. 4 for 6. They might have missed one. And I realized that Benzer took a tough shot. Wouldn't have liked it myself, but she hit it. So and that was with the 12-second mark. So you lost 23 seconds of game time there. And I know it's still 1 possession, but I just really felt that we should have extended out the game.
Yeah, Jeff, I agree absolutely with you. In fact, my dogs can attest that with the yelling I was doing at the TV, going like, why aren't we fouling? And maybe some other words. But I just, I didn't understand it either. So Nikki hits the 3 with 34 seconds. So even if you foul, relatively quickly, say 5 seconds run off the clock, and even if they hit 2, both free throws, you still at least now have 29 seconds instead of the 11 we ended up with. Right. To try and run, you get, hopefully some more time to run some offense, get a better shot than what we ended up with. The only thing I can think of is that I think Maryland's like one of the top 5. I can't remember exactly what I heard in the broadcast on the radio broadcast. They're like top 5 in the nation in free throw percentage. Only Angel Reese is like under like 75%. I think the rest of the team is 75% and over. So maybe that was the thought. But you know what? We ended up in the same position, even if they would have made both free throws. Mm-hmm. So,
but it was less time.
Less time. And the other reason I thought we foul is, and it didn't happen in this case, but you're also running the risk that they make a 3. And again, I understand they're not a good 3-point shooting team, but if they do make that 3, you're now down 4 with, very little time left. So I didn't get that.
And sorry, I interrupt you too much, Kathy. I apologize. That was one of my character flaws. But you raise a good point. If they hit a 3 there, we're cooked. I mean, and they may have not been looking for a 3, but once the shot clock started running down, they may have had to put one up just to beat a shot clock. And with the way they hit shots tonight, you raise a great point. I just felt like even if we fouled, even if they hit both free throws and go up 3 with 28 seconds to go, you've got a chance to come down, right, get an offensive rebound. If you miss, or you can foul, and you can just keep playing possessions from there. But I just felt you couldn't afford to let that much time run off the clock. That was just my personal opinion, and it's something that I'm just a big believer in. I'm a big, I know the clock stops when you in that situation, but I just think you got to extend it out.
I do too. Again, we ended up in the same position as it was with 11 seconds left. Had we fouled and they make both free throws, you're at 28-27. I mean, you buy yourself at least
And
15 to 20 seconds. So.
And I felt like in that last segment there, when they were trying to hunt a three, Maryland knew it. Whereas with 28 seconds to go, okay, you're down three.
Go for quick too.
Bingo, exactly. That's exactly where I was going, Kathy. Great point.
Yeah. It's like we've been doing this together for all season.
Yeah, since December.
I know it, right? Awesome. Yes. Okay. Okay, we'll end on a positive note. So right before the 34-second three-pointer from Nikki, I do think it would be remiss if we don't point out, because we've been kind of hard on them about their defense. They did force a 10-second call.
Yes.
So it partially, and I think part of it was that Maryland thought they still had the full 10 seconds coming out of the timeout. Regardless of whatever the situation is, we still played really tough D to keep them from getting the ball across the timeline. So I think that was good, because that ended up then leading into the play that got Nikki that three to get us within one. So.
And I don't want to speak too much about the officiating, because I just think it's life in the Big Ten and you were on the road. But I thought the officials let both teams get away and play pretty physical tonight. I didn't think there was a lot of ticky-tack stuff called tonight.
No, I agree. I thought, to me, it was contrast that to the Iowa game earlier in the week. I thought they were blowing the whistle a lot. Tonight, I don't think they were at all. They ended up only whistling both teams for a total of 26 fouls, 14 for Maryland and 12 for us. So it was actually fairly even in terms of the number of fouls they called.
Right.
I think they missed a lot that I felt there was a lot of contact, but they were consistently missing it on both ends. So
and that's one I'll go back to. I think right around a minute to go there, and I didn't write it down, so I have the exact time. But we kind of had a back and forth in a text message. You kind of thought that we had a play where we had a quick play out. Lex was going to drive it in for a layup. You felt like she should have maybe given it up a little bit. I liked the play Lex made in trying to attack the rim. Got blocked. Had a long review over who it was off of. I felt like she got fouled. Now I'm biased, but I felt even the replay showed that she got fouled and they just didn't call it. But I liked that play by Lex, because I thought, that's a good aggressive move. That if you can get that and go to the line, and if she gets a call, now it's a possible 3-point play. So I like the play by Lex, but unfortunately it just didn't work out, when she got blocked.
Yeah, I can see that too. I just thought once the defense collapsed, I would have liked to see if she could have gotten it out to someone, just because the refs weren't calling the fouls tonight. It was not a good chance we were going to get that call, and of course we didn't. And the replay, I thought, clearly showed she got hit on the elbow and down on her hip too. But again, like you said, it's life in Big Ten play. Would it have made the difference at the end of the game? Maybe. I mean, it's a 3-point game. It could have swung it the other way, but I think there are a lot of calls that Maryland didn't get either that we could
right.
say the refs missed. So I don't think that the refs really caused the game to go one way or another. And again, a 3-point game here, you have Nikki get a few more shots, and or we make a few less turnovers. There's a lot of things we could have done as a team. So
yep.
All right, anything else you want to talk about in terms of meaningful moments?
No.
Okay,
I'm ready for the numbers.
Me too. Let's do it. You go first.
I'm going to go in here and also right off the bat, because this is one we've talked a lot about. And again, it was all due to Chloe here, but we won the bench points tonight, 10-4. Maryland only got 4 points off their bench. And so, but so again, our bench, especially because Chloe started to put up some numbers in double digits, our bench production isn't looking so anemic now.
Yeah, absolutely. And those all came from Chloe again. She was 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3-point line. She had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in there, 2 turnovers. But there's a lot of our players. We ended up with 14 turnovers overall, and she did that in 29 minutes. So yeah, good play from our bench tonight. Keandra got in there, and I thought she gave us a good few minutes as well. She had 8 minutes off the bench. She didn't score, but again, that's not why we're putting Keandra in. I don't think we're putting her in for her scoring prowess per se, but she did an okay job. I just thought the matchup for her with Reese was just too much.
A tough matchup for her.
It was just too much, yeah. In terms of overall, yeah, I think we talked quite a bit about the shooting, but just to kind of break it down by quarter for us, that first quarter, I think we touched on it, but we only shot 25% in the first quarter for field goals. But then we turned around and shot our best quarter in the second at 58%, and we ended up with 41% shooting overall. And you compare that to about 43% with Maryland. So in terms of percentage wise, we ended up pretty even with with them. I think what really made the difference, though, was the points in the paint. In particular, it just seemed like Maryland was really finishing a lot better around the rim, and they outscored us 24-34, so by 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else? What's on your brain for numbers?
Well, and you hit something there. On the shooting though, you're talking about Maryland shot 50% in the first quarter, shot 50% in the fourth quarter. First quarter for us, 25%. Fourth quarter, 33%. There's really kind of where the game's won and lost, because we won the battle in the second and third quarter. So that was something I was looking at. I also want to point out we shot 39% from three. We were 7 of 18 after starting 0 for 4. We were 7 for 14, but unfortunately we were 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter. So,
right.
So you put those, otherwise we're 6 for 8 in the 2 middle quarters, 1 for 10 in the bookend quarter. So kind of really like you're talking about, but overall 3-point percentage doesn't look bad, but when you break it down by quarter,
yeah, it's not pretty. And, to be honest, if Nikki just has a night like she normally has, I mean, she ended up 1 for 6 tonight. I think we're knocking on the 40% range. She just makes 1 or 2 more, which is more like what we would see out of her. The other thing I like to look at are turnovers and then how they turn into points. And I mentioned it already around the first half, but to kind of finish that off. So again, first half, we had 8 turnovers to their 4. We had no points off of turnovers in the first half to their 11. And it was just a kind of a tough road for us tonight. It felt like we ended up forcing 13 turnovers for Maryland, but we only turned that into 5 points tonight. At least on our end, we did slow down in the second half and only 14 turnovers. And they only scored 3 more points in that second half off of the turnovers for a total of 14. So we cleaned it up definitely in the second half, but I was just unfortunate that the few turnovers that are the 13 turnovers rather that we forced, we just didn't turn them into points on the other end.
Yeah. And I will also point out, one of the things here, they had 8 steals. We had 5.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So those were kind of the team stats I had.
Yeah, I think you already touched on the rebounds, right? We're about even there, 36 for us,
Pretty
39
even.
for them. Yeah, pretty much even. So no stories there. At least I didn't think so. You talked about the bench already. Second chance points as well. I think we were pretty even.
12-9 them.
Thank you. I was trying to find it here and my eyes weren't finding them. So yeah, fairly even there too. So nothing there. So I really think it just came down to, like you said, that shooting in the first and fourth quarter. But cool. Any other numbers you want to talk about on the team side?
No, but I'm going to kind of jump in here, and obviously, Grace Berger played very well and such, but Grace, 16 points, 10 rebounds, which led the team, 6 assists, that also led the team. She had a steal and a block. Unfortunately, she had 3 turnovers, but overall, just another solid night from Grace Berger, who really, like you said, another kid that going back kind of to after the Michigan game, she's really played well.
Yeah, she has. That was her 12th straight game in double figures. Yeah.
I lost track. That's a good point.
Yeah. I did too, but Austin on the radio told me, so I wrote it down. So now we'll know going into the Big Ten tournament. She's on a 12-game scoring, a double scoring. So yeah, another double from Grace. And again, I think again the last few games in particular, I felt like she's just been more aggressive as well. Really looking for her shot more, but still finding her teammates. So as you mentioned, team high in points, but also team high in assists. So I just thought overall a nice game from her. I think I already read off Chloe Moore McNeil's stat line, so I won't go over that again. On the opposite side, I guess we should mention too, Angel Reese, though. I mean, she's just a great player. And we just really had a hard time with her down low, stopping her. I saw at least 3 different players trying to guard her, but she still ended up with 20 points and 16 rebounds tonight. So she was really, she was a difficult matchup for us tonight. Anyone else though on our team that you want to talk about from an individual stat? We did have 5 players in double digits. So
yeah, and one of them was your point guard who didn't, and one of the ones who wasn't was your point guard who didn't play well. And I know she's probably feeling bad about that. I've texted this to you as well during the game, and she ended up with 11 points and 8 rebounds, had an assist, a steal. Unfortunately, had 4 turnovers. But Lex was only 3 for 9 from the field. And I just really felt Lex was out of sync tonight. And that might have been partially the matchup she was going up against, but she was one of the ones early that I felt, besides Nikki, I felt like Lex just had some real hot potato type hands. It was like she couldn't grab the ball, or when she did, it was just like she couldn't hold on to it. And so I just felt Lex, struggled tonight. And I know she, like I said, she got into double figures. She was 4 for 4 at the line, 8 rebounds. But that's another one, though. I think if Lex has just a kind of a typical game where, say, she shoots 5 for 9, she's at 15 points, and we might have a win, even if Nikki plays bad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Lexi did lead the team in turnovers. She had 4 turnovers.
And that's hard to believe. I saw that and just felt like Nikki had way more than 3. Obviously, we're going to go with the official stats, but
well, to be fair, Nikki only played 21 minutes. The coach took her out, I think, after she was really making a lot of those mistakes. Alexa played all 40. She didn't sit at all.
Yeah, I just noticed that. You there?
Yeah, sorry. I have an Alexa speaker down in my basement, and it heard me say her name. I'm gonna just call her Lexi from now on, but she was gonna play me some music, I guess.
I got you.
So sorry about that. I was like, what? No. Yeah, she's done that to me before. Okay. Yeah.
But that's the only one other than that, anyway, because we kind of talked about Allie a little bit earlier. So I just want to make sure we talk about Lex, because again, she put up some decent numbers, but I just didn't feel like she played her best basketball.
Yeah, I agree.
Or her normal basketball.
Yes. Let me ask you a question about Lexi. I don't want to say her full name. I might get another music rendition here. During when Mac first went out, and then really soon after, at least, maybe not the first game, but I think we really saw Lexi was really averaging, if I remember at one point, the 3 or 4 games right after Mac went out, she was averaging around 17 or 18 points. Mm-hmm. Mac's back. Do you think that that's part of what we're seeing from her, is now that Mackenzie is back, that her role is shifted again, and maybe she's just having trouble getting back into what her role was earlier this year?
There could be some of that. I think part of it also is she played a lot of minutes in Mac's spot, and she had to battle some tough kids in the post. So she may be as more than anybody, she may be as physically and mentally tired as anybody. And I want to say, we kind of had this discussion in a text message. I don't want to say they're looking forward to something else, but they're seniors. They've went through senior day.
Yeah.
Is that bothering? I don't want to say bothering them. That's not probably the phrase I want to use, but is there a sadness that's kind of hit them that, their careers are coming to an end instead of trying to go, finish it strong and make a deep run? I'm not, again, I don't really want to be an armchair psychologist, but it just seems like a couple of them have been struggling a little bit and struggled Saturday, struggled Monday, or at least parts of it, and then struggled a little bit today.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff. I think maybe it's their focus is just not there anymore, and maybe in part because they're starting to see, or maybe they're pressing too hard too, right? Like maybe because they know it's coming to an end, they have all these emotions and things, and they know this is real, right? Like, we just went through senior day. I just announced I'm going to Europe. I'm Allie. I can't come back. I'm Nikki. I can't come back. And all of a sudden it's super real, and maybe they're just pressing too hard.
Yep. That's a good point.
Anything else in numbers?
Nope. Down in the numbers.
All right. Well, you're listening to the Doing the Work IU post-game show. You can catch us live immediately following most IU women's basketball games. You can find us at our website, assemblycall.com. Also, make sure you sign up for our free IU Hoops email newsletter, where we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers right now. You can join for free today at join.assemblycall.com. Again, that's join.assemblycall.com. I'm Kathy Amos, here with my co-host Jeff Marlow, and we are breaking down Indiana's loss against Maryland tonight. All right, Jeff, it is time for game balls. You want to go first?
Yeah, and I think we've already kind of gotten this in there, but I'm going to go with Grace. The 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Those were all team highs tonight. So I'm going to go with Lex. Or excuse me, I'm going to go with Grace.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wait, what happened?
I'm going to go with Grace.
Kidding. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that seems pretty easy. Again, a double for Grace. Again, as I mentioned, that was her 12th straight game and double figures, and she really just seems to be trying to will the team to the finish line here. So, okay, well that takes Grace to now 7 game balls. Max still has 3, Nikki 3, Allie 3, Lexi has 2. And now it is time for our Hoosier Hustle Award, sponsored by our friends at Evansville Security Services. Evansville Security Services provides off-duty police officers to businesses, individuals throughout Indiana. Remember, prevention can't be measured, so let Evansville Security Services help you prevent a bad outcome today. You can go to evansvillesecurityservices.com to learn more. Again, that's evansvillesecurityservices.com. Okay, Jeff, who do you have?
I really struggle with this one a little bit, Kathy, because it was such a tight one. But I think I'm going to go with Chloe again here, just because, again, I think more of the kind of the hustle award tend to be somebody who's creating some energy. And I felt like that Chloe did that off the bench night. Like you mentioned, 29 minutes, 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. So I was going to go Chloe Moore McNeil.
Yeah, you know what? That's who I wrote down on my sheet of paper too, Jeff. So we'll make it unanimous for Chloe. I just thought she is just, boy, if you could rewind a time and go back and watch some tape. Well, I guess we could technically. We could probably find some games. What am I talking about? Like I'm in the 80s or something. If we go back and look at some footage of her from earlier this year and compare that with what we saw tonight, I think you would almost think they're different people. Just maybe they were twins, because she is playing, I think, with just so much more confidence about her. And it's a quiet confidence. She's going out there. She's given us 29 minutes tonight, 10 points, and just solid minutes too, So overall, I just love the confidence I'm seeing from her. And I love that it's coming at this time of the year, and hopefully it'll, spark the rest of the team to get going here in the postseason.
And earlier in the year, I think I'll point this out too, because you bring up a good point about, go back to earlier in the year. We talked a little, I mentioned it earlier, but I think they didn't trust her defensively earlier in the year. I think there were still some moments where she maybe was getting a little lost. But boy, you watch it here really since the 1st of February, they've really come to trust her on defense. She's guarding, for example, Caitlin Clark at times. She guarded, I think it's Burton from Northwestern at times. So they've not been afraid to put her on the other team's best guard for a few minutes here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any other storylines from this specific game you want to talk about?
Not for this particular game, but I think the lingering storyline right now is I know it's going to sound kind of macro, just can we get the ship righted and make a deep run now? And I know we were having this discussion with Ari in the text as well about, winning the Big Ten tournament may not be the whole thing. And my opinion is if you're playing in the tournament, you're there to win it.
Right.
But right now, rest might not be a terrible thing for them. But can we get the ship right enough that we can make at least a similar run to what we did last year, if not better?
Right. Well, you know what? They have time to rest between now and Thursday.
Yep.
So,
well, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think when you look back, played Iowa Monday, played tonight. Now they don't play again until Thursday. So basically, you're going to have almost, not quite, but about 10, 11 days there where you've only basically played one game. And so I think that could do wonders for them. Plus, it'll give the coaching staff a chance to get back in and finally start breaking some film down and be like, okay, this we got to get fixed. And
right.
Especially on some of the defensive stuff.
Yeah. And, we talked about this a little bit in the last show, I believe. It's not like they're getting blown out. I mean, they did in the first Iowa game for the first 3 quarters, and boy, they came back with a vengeance in that 4th quarter and still almost came back. But the last 3 games in particular have only been single-digit losses. I don't think any of our losses have been double digits this year, right? So it's not like they're getting blown out and they're just right there. They just have a few things to clean up, right? If Nikki has her normal game tonight, I think we win this game. If we can get Allie a little bit more going consistently, I think we're right there. So I think there's just a few things that we can tweak. It's not like, we're the Titanic and need to right the ship, right? It's
right.
not that bad. I think that there's just small things they can do. I think rest will do them a world of good.
And I think you bring up a good point there, that you look here, they lost to Iowa twice and they lost to Maryland Day. Those are teams that are in the top 25. These are
right.
not bad losses. I thought it was interesting that the Big Ten telecast still had them projected to be a 3 seed at this point. I think they're off. I think they're a little better. Maybe they're going to drop to a 4 seed this week before the tournament starts, but I'm not sure they're dropping out of top 4. I think the committee will look a little bit at their net ranking. I think they'll look at the fact that McKenzie missed a big chunk of games there as well. And let's face it, there are not a lot of teams playing great basketball right now in women's basketball. You've got a few at the top who are playing really, really well. You take a look. Paige Beckers came back today. Where will UConn get seated and now that Paige Beckers is back? What is that going to be factor into where they're seated, for example? So I really agree with you. And about the only game you really can point back to where they just got outplayed was the Michigan game.
Yeah. And they have some good wins earlier this year. I mean, we beat Maryland earlier this year, right? And we had Ohio State that we beat earlier this year at Ohio State. So those wins don't go away. No. So. All right. Well, let's preview then our upcoming shows and opponents. We don't know our opponent, but we know our next game will probably be on Thursday. Well, I think it's a for sure at this point, right? So there's no other. It was between us and Maryland, so we're for sure.
We're the 5.
Yeah, it's locked in. We'll be playing next Thursday. We will either play Wisconsin or Rutgers for the first game for us in the Big Ten tournament. So for the men's side, Assembly Call will have a post-game show on Sunday after their game then as well.
It's Minnesota. I typed up the run sheet wrong. That should be Minnesota, by the way. They're playing on Sunday.
Thank you. I didn't know which team it was, but I knew they played Sunday. After whoever they play, Minnesota. Okay. Yeah. Again, you're listening to the Doing the Work IU post-game show. So one more reminder to go to homefieldapparel.com and use our checkout code of HOME to get 15% off if it's your first order. But okay, it's time for last call. Any lingering questions and things you want to talk about in your last call?
I just want to point out, we don't know exactly what time. I think they'll play maybe like the second game on Thursday. I think is the way I remember the bracket on TV, but I can't remember exactly what time. So that post-game show will probably not be in the middle of the afternoon. We'll probably do a post-game show later in the evening because Kathy and I both work. So I doubt that I don't think we're going to be doing a post-game show right after the women play on Thursday. So unless it's later in the evening, but for some reason I'm thinking they play like the second game Friday after or Thursday afternoon, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't really know yet either. So
yeah. So, but as far as my last call, hey, regular season's over. We look at what this team has done, and yes, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the possibility of winning the Big Ten. They were like 11-2, or 10-2, and we were good and thought just win a couple games and we. Or 10-1, actually. We were 10-1 getting ready for Nebraska. And so we're kind of in a rough stretch. But you look at what they've done. They're 19-7. They're 11-5 in the league. I mean, it may have not been where we hoped they would finish. But this team still has its goals in front of it. And this team has been something I think that IU fans can be really proud of with the way they've played through an injury to a big-time player, the COVID pause. And so this team, I think, still has some things to do. And as Terry Moore would say, it's time to do the work.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, it seems like we are confirmed by Ari here that they will play at 2 p.m. on Thursday. So we definitely will not be doing a live post-game show for that.
Is that Eastern time, I'm assuming, Ari?
And I asked him the same thing. So he hasn't confirmed yet. So we'll see. Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So we'll come with you guys here and meet you back in the chat on Friday evening. Thursday. Yeah, now I'm off.
That's fine. We play Thursday.
See, Ari put Friday in the chat. No, I'm blaming Ari. Okay, 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Either way, we'll be back for it. Okay, I agree with you 100%, Jeff. I don't want these last week and a half of games or so to really taint all of our memories of the earlier part of the season, right? Where they were just on a roll. They had their best start ever at 6-0 in the Big Ten season that the program has ever had. And this is still one of our best teams we've ever had. And they're not finished just because the regular season's over. We've ended kind of on a down note here. That doesn't mean anything. They still have a chance to get a Big Ten title going through the tournament. So I agree with you. I think they still come out and play to win. And I think that that we'll see some good adjustments from them.
And how would this be different? And I know it's not conspiracy theory, but how would this be different if we hadn't had to make up the one Iowa game? Instead, we would have played, say, Rutgers, a game that was canceled from earlier in December, a Big Ten game. Had we played Rutgers maybe earlier this week and then gone to Maryland, or kind of a trip to Rutgers and Maryland together, you got to feel like we would have beat Rutgers. So now you would be 12-4 instead of 11-5, and we may be talking about a top 4 seed and not playing on Friday. And again, you can only control what's in front of you, but boy, that's a big what if right now with this group.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what? Can they get their mojo back? That's my lingering question. So I think they'll answer it for us on Thursday. And I, you know what? I just like Nikki didn't quit on herself at 34 seconds left and put up the 3. I'm not quitting on the team either. And I think they'll turn it around. I really do.
I agree.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that will do it. If you want to see us do the show live and be part of our live chat, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/assemblycall. And don't forget to go to join.assemblycall.com to join it for our free email newsletter. A special thanks out to John Ringer of Riggs Design for designing all our logo. And thank you all for listening. And again, we'll be back to talk IU hoops with you on Thursday night, not right after the game. But until then, keep your elbows in, your eyes on the rim, and go Hoosiers.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and the workaholics for coming out tonight. I know it's a Friday night. I mean, we had this comment this was there was not a great crowd at Maryland tonight. I don't think the attendance is on the stat sheet I saw. No, it's not. But, it was a Friday night, and we realize a lot of you have things going on Friday night. So appreciate all the workaholics who were in here in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everyone. And yeah, Jeff, you're available then on Thursday?
I should be able to do Thursday, but I'll let you know for sure later in the week. And then, but yeah, so we got to kind of figure that out and go from there. So
yeah, sounds good.
Denny and all you guys who are saying thanks, who are giving us, appreciation. We want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for being in the chat, and we appreciate you very much. So, and anybody that's listening later, maybe on Saturday while you're doing things around the house or whatever is on your agenda, we appreciate everybody that's out there.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll be off for a few days because the women won't play, obviously, but the men do play on Sunday, and then I believe again Tuesday.
I don't know. Let's see what my little phone here says.
They got Rutgers on Tuesday, I believe. I could be wrong. Might be Wednesday, the 2nd.
27th, they play on Sunday. They play Minnesota, and on Wednesday they play Rutgers.
Yeah, that's it. It's Wednesday. I'm kind of messed up here. I keep thinking the 1st is Monday. So.
Yep.
So anyway, hey, Kathy, appreciate tonight. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. I know almost till a little after 10 o'clock our time. So
yeah, it's late. So, all right, Jeff, have a great weekend and take care of yourself.
And we'll talk here in a few days and get ready for the show this week.
Sounds good. All right.
See you,
Goodbye,
Kathy.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.